Alright, welcome back to Tier 2 of the Webcomics Iceberg. Seems there aren't any corrections, but some of you guys are asking for a link to the original chart, and it appears that Spider the Yandere, whose username I made a point to take down, may have deleted their posts. I don't know why. I think the chart's pretty good, so sorry if you can't find it, neither can I. But I have it panning on screen now, okay? So we're going to move on to the second half of Tier 2 of the Webcomics Iceberg. Welcome back. Tails gets trolled. Oh boy, that's an infamous webcomic. See what I did there? Anyway, Tails Gets Trolled is only the second worst comic on this iceberg starring Tails from the Sonic the Hedgehog series. I'm pretty sure you guys may have seen a video by Best Sonic YouTuber Cybershell going over the series, but that was quite a few years back. Love that guy. Check out his stuff if you've never heard of him. I would recommend that video, and I'll even link it in the description. But, like all memes based on bad art, it began on DeviantArt. DeviantArt. Satan's little corner of the internet. So this story is by a user going by the alias LaserBot. So it begins with Tails getting trolled, and then there's a whole bunch of crazy shit and various characters from various IPs, and it just kind of goes off the rails. However, most people actually praise the comic and enjoy it despite its convoluted structure and crude art. Crude art that has spawned quite a few evergreen memes, Tom Reaction being the biggest of them all. This panel is my favorite, though. I'm so mad. I'm gonna have sex with my girlfriend so I won't be so mad. I love this panel so much. Granted, I don't know the context, so I'm gonna read the first a little bit and give you some first impressions. Okay, so I need to stop before I read the whole thing. I thought Mr. Boob was an avant-garde masterpiece that remained to be seen, but Tails Gets Trolled is on another level. It's amazing. I love that Shadow and Sonic are still pretty much in character here too. So the premise is that some trolls call Tails, quote, gay and shit. Then he goes to... quote, gay and shit. Then he goes to his friends for some help, and this leads to some kind of snowball effect that spans years. I cannot wait to get back into this. It's riddled with typos, and the art is rudimentary at best. Some details are just plain wrong from panel to panel, like Tails growing a third tail, but I'm hooked. I don't know what it is. It just works.
All of this just works. It's not, I'm not kidding.
I want to read the reviews. Top positive review. K. Wheatbread says, the most beautiful thing I have ever read. Top negative review. Yolanda says, I have no idea why my friend brought this for me. This doesn't make any sense. With the reply, how to downvote a review. I can't wait to binge this one. It feels like lightning in a bottle. Bluechair. Alright, so we got another webtoon. This one is by an artist calling themselves Shen. And the description for the webtoon reads, quote, the internet's favorite visual stand-up comic to make memes out of. I don't know what the fuck that means, but let's find out. Alright, so checking out the first few episodes of this series, we have an episodic gag strip. So the premise is that the main character shares his thoughts, and then some kind of skit plays out. I didn't find them particularly funny, but I did like the more generally simplistic art style. Very heavy on shape, very minimal on line. Kind of reminds me of like Katamari Damacy. Shit, now I want to play Katamari. Alright, I thought Bluechair was okay so far. I mean, I'll give it another shot, you know? Maybe I'm just not in the right mindset, but I don't know. I wasn't doing it for me. Alright, so let's move on to the reviews. Top positive review. Moniza Rafiq says, short, white, and funny episodes with a hint of the author's own daily life and struggles in this weird world of ours. Top negative review. Charvy J says, I feel like Shen is my best friend now. If he were to stop churning out content, I might not recover from the loss. There was a 1 and 2 star rating, but they didn't write anything. Those are just ratings, not reviews, refusing to display to correct myself in the previous tier. So, yeah. Also, I would have thought that Charvy there would have given it a bit of a higher score with that review, but let's move on. Clinic of Horrors. Another webtoon. This one is by Merriweather. Oh, I know them? I'm not sure if it's one person or a whole team. Alright, anyway, let's check out the synopsis. In a strange city, there is a clinic that will treat the victims of horrific diseases for a price. So, I'm assuming this is an American city? Like, is Merriweather Canadian? I didn't get the usual poutine warning. Like, that's just the American healthcare system, dude. It's like, you aren't rich and you got leprosy? Tough. Deal with it. I do too. As well as individual thought patterns and spiritual healing. Rip Chuck. Alright, enough dawdling. Let's check out Clinic of Horrors. Okay, so this is a series of episodic strips starring the Doctor and Best Girl Bianca. Sorry, I got a thing for cooteries. I mean, come on, women that say what they mean and mean what they say, what's hotter than that? Anyway, the synopsis is pretty on the nose. The world is a dystopian hellscape and modern medicine can help, but only if you're rich enough. I think this might be some kind of social commentary, but I'm not so sure. I do like the art. A very Westerner trying to do anime, but actually succeeding vibes. I'm not sure if I should look at this one specifically in an inevitable review, or just do one on all of Merryweather's stuff, you know? Consider their, not notoriety, but I guess popularity. Anyway, let's read some reviews, and this doesn't have a page on Goodreads, but a Google search seems to show people liking this one. I kind of liked it too, but here's hoping it actually starts developing some kind of overarching plot rather than just short strips. Brawl in the Family. So this is a Super Smash Bros. Brawl fan comic by a guy named Matthew Toronto. Alright, time to piss off the Nintendo fans here. I'm gonna be perfectly honest, I looked at it and I have almost nothing to say. It's just gag strips of Nintendo characters. Now, I am a certified Nintendo hater, so I know I'm already not gonna like it. More so the fans of the company Nintendo, but the company themselves are pretty cringe too. I mean, the art got better over time. I'm just really gonna gloss over this one. He ran a Kickstarter and got some books published, so good on him, and for anybody that enjoy it. I'm sorry, it's just, if I have to talk about Nintendo, it makes me feel like I took a mega dose of Ritalin. I find Nintendo stuff so boring and lame, and Nintendo fanboys so cringy. But that's just me. I'm sure Toronto's a normal guy, you know? No offense, but I also think he'll talk my ear off about how Ocarina of Time broke him, or whatever the fuck these video essays are saying these days. Listen, if a video game or a movie or comic book can break you, use a fucking bitch, bro. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. I reviewed fucking Bench Tales. Still not broken. I refuse to review this one because I don't think I'd be able to give it a fair shot, considering my hatred for Nintendo. I'm just gonna move on. Apologies to Nintendo fanboys in the comments section, but a lot of y'all need to stop being cringe. Next comic. Wait, hold on. Damn, I feel kind of bad. I kind of went like a little too in on Nintendo in this entry, using Toronto as a springboard. I'm sorry, dude. I just really don't like Nintendo. Also, someone went on a tirade in the comments section about me making fun of Nintendo fans a few videos back, so, maybe I don't feel so bad. Problem Sleuth. Problem Sleuth is part of Homestuck. I'll get to that when I get to that. I went over Homestuck already in Tier 1. Next. TwoKinds. Someone commented that they really liked this one, so here's hoping I do too. Okay, so I click on the link and I'm greeted by a furry tiger girl. Oh boy, we got a furry comic. This is a story by Tom Bischbach, and according to his synopsis, we're going to have to speed up the read. Alright, quote, Summary. After losing his memory to a mysterious battle, Trace Legacy... Really? That's his name? Are you kidding me? A former leader for an organization of mages called the Templar finds himself in the company of Flora, a girl of strange tiger-like qualities. As Trace gradually begins to relearn what he once knew, he soon discovers that Flora belongs to a race of people who are enemies to his kind. As friendship confects with racial differences, Trace and Flora find themselves in a situation more critical than either of them can imagine. Overview. TwoKinds is a webcomic that takes place in a world conflicted with racial tension, primarily between the human-like humans and the animal-like Kydron. The human-like humans? They have dramatically different societies and ideas on how to live and act. It is because of these differences that the two races are almost always in some sort of conflict. The story begins as the world hinges on the brink of another war. However, unlike before, the time war seems to be the result of a single man manipulating the two races for his own personal gain, though he no longer has any memory of doing so. Okay, so, that was a lot. So we got some kind of furry fantasy epic with racial equality as the symbolic undertone. Interesting, might be good. Let's get a first impression going. This is the manga that Mike and Melissa is based on. Wonder why they turned her from a tiger to a skunk in the anime. Okay, I kid, but I will look at Eminem one day. Not really feeling it. Has a lot of generic tropes and you know, amnesiac main character that's like the chosen one or some shit. And there's a very obvious enemies to lovers plotline being set up. The art gives me like mid-2000s DeviantArt vibes, you know, before it was fetish central. I mean, jumping ahead, the art did significantly improve, but hey, that's just my thoughts, right? Just the first impressions. Maybe the story gets better as it goes. Sometimes good ones can have a pretty basic start. So, you know, let's see the reviews. Top positive review. Francesco Terrani says, definitely my kind of story in more ways than one. Nearly everything I want in a story was in this one. Characters and art are beyond amazing and I absolutely loved it. This was a fantastic beginning and I look forward to what happens next. Top negative review. Fluttershy Real says, a lot. So it's time to speed up the read. They say, Natani is probably the worst trans mask rep in all of furry history. He deserves better. Okay, because someone is going to ask your context. He's super hypersexualized, like his binder explodes, and it's like, damn double D boobies. Despite all that, some furry trans masks do see him as a formative, brain-changing character. After all, he was, and probably still is, unfortunately, the most prominent trans mask character in furry media. 90% of TK fans see him as a sexy booby woman. There's a part that kind of goes hard about Natani doing some self-reflection and having gender feelings and shit, but that's like that one part of the narrative where he's taken seriously, and apparently now they she, her, him, and retcon his entire transness. Fuck! I haven't followed TwoKinds since I was a naive kid searching up cool furry comics online, and there's now better trans mask furry rep elsewhere. Oh, and also this comic is horny as hell for enslaving furry women, transformation fetish. So if you like that, go ahead, IG. Although the similarities between furry enslavement and antebellum America are kind of hard to ignore, even if you just read it as isekai type shit. Like, why the fuck does the story try to play off Eric Vaughn as a good guy? What the fuck? He was a slave owner. He keeps Catherine as a slave, and their relationship is super creepy. Like, what the fuck, girl? What did a lifetime of slavery do to you? Why does she prance around naked like that? Like, yeah, I get that this is totally not a corn type of webcomic, but still, what the fuck? How did I read this as a freshman in high school and not freak the fuck out of me just reading with one brain cell? Markiplier's brother. How could you have done this? Haha, Markiplier's brother wrote this. Lol. Wait. Markiplier's brother wrote this? Get the fuck out of here. Well, I'm a pretty big fan of sexy booby ladies, so maybe I'll give it another shot. Okay, I don't know. I guess this person just wasn't happy with some LGBT representation of some kind. I didn't get that far in, but hey, you can't please all the people all the time. And there's slavery? Well, I guess Fishbach was ahead of his time. That's all the rage in the weeby fantasy genre these days. I don't mind hypersexualization in my comics. Hell, some can argue my comic is, and I have no defense. But I haven't got that far, and if you're going to have content like that, put a warning on it somewhere, you know? I think I'm just not in the right mindset to read this one right now. I do want to give it another shot, especially since someone commented about how much they liked this one in the previous episode. So, for now, we're just going to move on to the next comic. This was a long entry. So, you're a cartoonist. Dobson has returned. So You're a Cartoonist is a series of episodic strips by notorious lolcow Andrew Dobson. If you don't know who Andrew Dobson is, I'd recommend Magic Mush's mini doc on the guy. I'd also recommend Magic Mush in general. Love that dude. So, this was a series that Dobson posted online illustrating typical struggles of his life as an independent artist. However, with the advent of the GaMERCat movement, it shifted to hard-left political commentary. I'd call it the antithesis to someone like Stone Toss, but that would actually be Adam Ellis. Anyway, this series is infamous for producing the Power Girl meme comic, and I just have to do a reading for you. Tell your girls to smile. Hey, quit it! Excuse me a second. Understood. Help! A blue bear in a fedora is attacking me with a baseball bat. Sir, this 911 line is for emergencies, not prank phone calls. Boop. Hey, Barbara. I'm sorry I had another call. I've been smoking these parliaments all day. They were all out of Pall Malls in the 7-Eleven. I don't know, I couldn't understand a damn word the guy was saying behind the counter. Just 2 more years and I can cash out my Social Security. Then we can go hit up the slots. I love going to the casino when they're playing the slots with you, Barbara. What are you talking about, tables? There's too many Chinamen over there. Okay. All right, anyway, elderly racist boomer woman aside. You like that character? I might incorporate her into my own story. Sorry, I just kind of went off on a tangent there. That's kind of the vibe that voice I get from... Anyway, this comic became so notorious that it even rivaled stuff like Cow Tools and Lost in terms of memeability. There are millions of edits of this comic. It was actually kind of a hard time finding the original version. And the funny thing is, this is based on a real scenario. Apparently, Dobson was working at a convention when he saw some guy taking pictures of a woman in Power Girl cosplay. Now, Dobson got it twisted and thought this guy, who I believe was literally her boyfriend, was harassing her, so he had to draw this White Knight scenario to self-flagellate to. What a guy. I really want to do an infamous webcomics episode on this series and a look at his other series, Alex the Pirate, but I can't find a full archive. I should also note some people are critical of his portrayal of lesbian characters in Alex the Pirate. Now, I haven't read it myself, so I can't say for sure if that's true, but as someone who writes a comic with various characters from different backgrounds, be that race, gender, or sexuality, the most important thing is always to write them as a person first, and all that other stuff second. That's my tip for any of you working on your own comics. Everyone's a person just like me and you before all that other stuff. Always remember that. And so is Dobson, honestly. Some trolls came up to him at a convention and threw some liquids in his face. I can't remember if it was water or something else. Like, the guy's a clown, but come on. That's not cool. Leave him alone. This is the part where I'd read reviews, but like I said, I can't find a full archive. If you come across it, for the love of God, send it to me. That's a golden goose ass video right there. I want it, and I know you do too. Dobson left the internet a ways back and seems to have disappeared for good, especially after the discovery of his inflation fetish DeviantArt account. Oh yeah, I kind of speed ran the lore. Again, Magic Mush Doc. Link in the description. Next comic. Scandinavia and the World. Alright, so I go on the site and there's no synopsis. Have a fucking synopsis. Okay, so from TV Tropes, quote, Scandinavia and the World is a webcomic by Human. It is a... Human. I was sent here by humans. Humans. It is a comic about stereotypes, history, and culture in the form of national personifications interacting with one another and focusing on, well, Scandinavia. So I'm guessing this is the creators' play on country humans, and maybe they're really into Norwegian black metal and Swedish melodic death metal. Well, I guess he or she or they, them, or whatever has good taste. Let's check it out. So, it's a series of episodic strips focusing on the personification of Sweden, Denmark, and Norway, as well as various guest countries that make stereotypical jokes. Gotta say, Humans, a bit hard on Norway in the first few. It's okay, but I feel like I'd enjoy the jokes more if I was Scandinavian myself. I like the one where they beat up England. It made my Irish-American blood smile. The art style is pretty cute. I kind of like it, but it could use some backgrounds. I'd read reviews now, but there are only 2 saying they liked it and not so many words, so we're just going to move on. It was okay. I think I'll incorporate this into a potential video with a deep dive on country humans. Try to work out that lore. Maybe that'd be a cool video. Give me some advice on that in the comments, why don't you? Because I don't know where to look for country humans lore. Awful Hospital. This is a webcomic created by Jonathan Wojcik, whatever, however you pronounce that. Alright, the site's a little poorly designed. I should be able to click a first button as soon as I get on the homepage, especially if it's a sequential story that has a beginning, But that aside, I had to pull the synopsis from the wiki because apparently none of these comics that are hosted on their own sites have synopses, whatever. Anyway, quote, the story follows a mother named Fern, whose son becomes ill with a mysterious disease. Under mysterious circumstances, both have ended up in the hospital, separated from each other. Not wanting to find her son, Fern takes part in an adventure across the zones to save her child and return home, eventually uncovering a shadow attack from a group called the Parliament. The commenters play a crucial role in the story as they can influence Fern's actions and sometimes the actions of entities like Jay and Willis. Sounds like a interactive death game thriller. Intriguing. Let's read the first bit for a bit of a first impression. And upon further investigation, this isn't necessarily a webcomic per se. This is an interactive choose-your-own-adventure style story in the vein of Homestuck. The art is kind of fun, though. I understand that this is using images and words in conjunction to tell a story, which is somewhat the definition of a comic. This, however, has a level of interactivity, so I'm disqualifying it from this iceberg as a comic. It is a pretty interesting concept, and perhaps when I finally get around to covering Homestuck, I'll talk about this one too and any other interactive stories like this. Could be a good video. Next comic. Everything is Fine. Back to Webtoon with this one. This is a story by Mike Burchell, and according to his own synopsis, quote, Sam and Maggie are a normal couple in a normal house in a normal neighborhood. There is nothing strange about their heads, their neighbors, or their sweet little dog. Everything is fine. Okay, feels like we got a bit of a dystopian nightmare plot. Where there's all sorts of weird and awful things going on, but the characters in the story act like everything is fine.
Oh, that's why they call it that.
Anyway, let's give it the good old 2-chapter impressions. And I am absolutely hooked. I'm honestly probably going to keep reading this after I'm done with this tier. So, in this world, everyone has a weird cat head and something feels really off. But everyone acts like everything is fine.
Oh, that's why they...
Wait, I already did that joke. But there's some sort of mystery brewing. The more you read, the more you want to know. Why does this world feel so oppressive? What's up with this couple? What's Charlie really doing in the basement? What's with the red eye? Why are their heads like that? This is how you get a reader to latch onto a story. Either make the reader ask a question or get them invested in the characters ASAP. Burchell chose the former approach and nailed it with flying colors. I like the art too. It kind of feels like a low-poly indie game, but like in a good way. I can't wait to get back to this, but let's see what other people thought about it. Top positive review. Grapey Del Taco says, Holy shit. Deeply unsettling and had me on the edge of my seat from the moment we meet Sam and Maggie. In this bizarre dystopia, the town's citizens are heavily monitored by cameras. What the fuck is this voice? They're all... In this bizarre dystopia, the town citizens are heavily monitored by cameras and all require animal helmets and each other. Pieces slowly but surely fall into place regarding the circumstances of how these people are being controlled under a strict yet vague regimen. Regime, not regimen. What the fuck? I never know what's going to happen next, but I can't bring myself to tear my eyes away from it all. All is not swell in this totalitarian nightmare, but it's unclear just how sinister the town's creation and enforcement goes. I am losing my mind. CW. Murder. S-word ideation. Attempted S-word. Blood. Kidnapped loved ones. Depression. Extreme totalitarian surveillance state. Grief. Animal death. Paranoia. Yes, I gotta say S-word. I fucking hate YouTube. Top negative review. Meshi says, a lot. So it's speed up time. They say, quote, I received this graphic novel from NetGallery in exchange for an honest review. So I really wanted to read this one, and I can tell you that I have a lot of feelings. Conflicting headache, what the F is going on, wait, hold on, and more like these. I am still not sure if I like this one. I mean, it just felt very weird, and at times I was very much disturbed, and as the story went on, it got more and more disturbed, and WTF. Excuse me. In this graphic novel, we follow a married couple as they go about their day. Sounds nice, right? Well, now imagine if they were wearing cute cat, cats, whatever you call it, and that things are definitely not fine. Right from the bat, when we see that Winston, their cute dog, well, that was just a no. And was like, wait, how can you not see that? WTF? What did you do? And then there is the neighborhood outside. The stores only carry simplistic product. Someone buys all the foil. The neighbors are all happy and preppy, and everything is fine. Oh, and there are cameras. Sometimes when something happens, a red light goes on inside of those masks/hats, and there are more hints of things. It was at times very interesting, but because we barely got anything on why or what, I just got a bit bored. Plus, the dinner conversation just had me yawning. Plus, also very confused. I would also like to see some flashbacks, like how it was before. Maybe some more hints of before. Anything I would have taken at this point. Hand me something. I mean, by the time we got some hints, I was already so disturbed and thinking about DNFing this book that I wasn't interested in them anymore. Also, given how people reacted to the person sellers, I thought he had a torture chamber or something else horrific there, but the truth, well, I won't spoil it, but it was way more boring than that. The ending suddenly went into full roller coaster mode, which just felt a bit rushed to me, especially giving that ending. Holy fuck. I'm sorry if my review is chaotic as heck. It is already much better than my first review. What the actual fuck did I just read? My headache already persistent since last night has decided to hold a house party in my head now. Thanks, I am so confused, so utterly confused. Cat head wearing humans in a dystopian setting with death, gore, murder, disappearances, weird, so weird. Not sure what to think. That ending, the fuck. As you can see, this review is much better. Haha. I'm not entirely sure if I would recommend this, but hey, if you're into weird dystopian cat stuff with lots of confusing WTFs, check it out, I guess. I really want to know what's going on in the story, but sometimes these intriguing mysteries give you anticlimactic payoffs. Hopefully that's not the case with this one. Boyfriends. This is a series I actually already did cover. I took a look at the first fourth of it. The story is by artist Reframe Bro. For some reason, it had a ton of controversy around it. Maybe because it was popular. I looked into it for the video that I did on it. Reframe Bro said the N-word when they were an edgy teenager. That's about it. Like, come on. Like, let it go. We were all edgy teenagers once. Anyway, the story revolves around 4 gay men and their polyamorous relationship. They're named after their aesthetic. Goth, prep, jock, and nerd. Anyone who has read it will agree with me that goth is best boy. It was kind of a cute story and an interesting window into alternative lifestyles. I am not poly nor am I gay, so I'm way outside the target demographic for this. But if either of those apply to you, maybe you'll like it. It was kind of cute, but I found it to be a bit boring, honestly. I'll link to my review in the card, but before we move on, time to read reviews. Top positive review. Lauren says, this is a sweet comic about a pansexual nerdy man, a bisexual jock man, a cos trans man, and a gay preppy man, starting a quad ploy relationship for the first time. It deals with different real-life situations and issues like self-worth, communication style, and problems, class differences, love languages, life plan, and goals in serious but easy-to-relate-to ways while still being lighthearted and cute. It also shows the same stereotypes, but portrayed as women and their friends who are also super cute. I binge all 148 episodes and can't wait for more once this hiatus is over. Top negative review. Afra says, thanks NetGallery and Publish for this advanced copy. I didn't like it. I've been reading webtoons for years, but I've never tried to read Boyfriend. Why? Simply because the author was problematic. Fucking hate that word. He had heard all dramas about him. I'm pretty sure they go by they, them pronouns. That's rich coming from somebody that calls something problematic. Anyway, but this time I tried to give it a chance to try this. Let's start with the positives. Unique art style, simple storytelling. Then let's start with the negatives. The authors felt like to try adding all those diversity aspects he can found in universe in one book. Without any thought at all, it was not needed, it was too much. Run a fucking spell check, my fucking brain. The fact that all characters were stereotypical characters. We got a jock, nerd, gothic, ha! It was funny how the author tried to put a label on his characters. The maximum cringy level. Overall, if you want to read a story where everybody is queer, you should try this. I like that voice. I might use it again. I mean, I thought it was fine. You know, just not really for me. Next comic. The GaMERCat. Alright, this one is by Samantha Witten. Looking like we got another epic gamer comic crossed with cats. This goes all the way back to 2013. So from the comics website itself, thank you for having the synopsis, by the way. The comic. Quote, The GaMERCat is a comic that mixes gaming humor with mischievous felines. It started in 2011, a correction to my previous statement, as a fun little side project and quickly gained popularity from both gamers and cat lovers alike. This slice of life features an appropriately named cat with access to a large library of games and an overactive imagination, who literally dives into popular franchises and tackles topics in gamer life from a cat's perspective. He's haunted by materialistic fairy and preoccupied with raising a gamer kitten protege, all while he and his cat friends fly under the radar of blissfully ignorant humans. So, it sounds like we got VG cats crossed with Awkward Zombie, but starting in 2011, a little late for that genre. Well, let's give it a shot, and I'll give you my first impressions of the first few strips. So, yeah, it's exactly like I said. It's basically Awkward Zombie starring a cat. Because everyone knows that cats make everything better, except for the air, for me. Super allergic. So allergic. Like, they could be 10 feet away and my freaking eyes start turning red. I wasn't feeling it. Felt kind of millennial cringe, But let's see if we can find some reviews. Top positive review. Jill says, This was such a cute book. I followed the comic online for a while, and I'm so glad to have this book in my collection now. Top negative review. Dylan says, I think it was great. Then why'd you give it 1 star? Whatever. I don't know. These gamer comics always strike me as a bit cringe. I'm kind of indifferent to it. Next comic. BlueyCapsules. So, I typed this into Google search, and the first thing I see is that the guy in charge of what seems to be a team got canceled for being racist. Absolutely riveting. Alright, it seems it was taken down and archived on various wikis, but the majority of the synopsis, I can say it's a Five Nights at Freddy's fan comic. Alright, I'll give it a shot, but this franchise is the reason why the indie horror genre became overinfested with those evil mascot YouTuber bait games. And searching, I can't seem to find a proper archive. But some of the out of context and out of order screenshots are showing me that this is kind of not my vibe. If you enjoy it, that's cool. I'm just gonna move on. I kind of hate Five Nights at Freddy's, to be honest. Like the actual game. The fans are a little weird, but, they're fine. Just the actual game, I think, is kind of shit, to be perfectly honest. Happyroadkill is one of the most difficult websites to navigate. Dude, I just want to see the comics in order. Why is that so hard? Alright, so this seems to be a series of one-off gags created by a user that refers to himself as a, quote, 24-year-old gay boy comic crafter. His words, not mine. Happyroadkill is just his username. I can't really get a grasp on what he's trying to do with it, but it seems fine. He also seems to be a big regular show fan, which is seen on his Instagram page and in his art style. I read a few. They're a little funny. I don't think there's any physical copies with reviews. Honestly, I'm just going to gloss over this one. I define this as inoffensive. I guess that's the best adjective for this. Sandra and Woo. Woo! Alright, so this is a story by a team writer Oliver Norzer and artist Puri Andini. Forgive any mispronunciations. We have an international affair here with Norzer being from Germany and Andini being from Indonesia. Pretty cool how art connects people. So, as for the story, from the official website itself, quote, about the comic, Sandra and Woo is a comedy comic strip featuring the 13-year-old Sandra North and her mischievous pet raccoon Woo. While most strips are just supposed to be funny or tell an exciting story, some also deal with more serious topics. We also want to show what growing up means for Sandra and her best friend in middle school, Cloud and Larissa. Another regular feature of the comic are Woo's trips to the forest to meet his furry friends Shadow, a fox, and Sid, a squirrel, and his love interest Lily. Okay, so it looks like we're looking at a bit of a wholesome slice of life with a coming-of-age story arc. I like those every now and then. Let's read the first little bit and I'll give you first impressions. By the way, guys, if you have a long-running comic series, please have a big-ass first or start here or first comic or chapter 1 button. I can't believe how many times I've run into this issue in the series. Anyway, alright, it's about a gamer girl and... A gamer girl, why did I say that? Too many gamer comics in this fucking iceberg. Alright. Gamer girl. Where the fuck that? That's not even on the script. What is it, Hot Boys and Gamer Girls? I miss Jakey. Alright, it's about a girl and her pet raccoon. Kinda cute. I like the black and white art. There are no reviews. I, however, typed Sandra and Woo into the Google search bar, and one of the autofills was controversy. So I clicked it out of curiosity and just had a lesbian in it or something. I don't know. I didn't really do extensive research. These iceberg videos are supposed to be just general overviews, not in-depth deep dives, but like, who cares? Lesbians exist. They're actually pretty chill people based on my personal experience. Maybe the representation was bad. I don't know. I don't really want to read too deep into this terminally online rabbit hole. Whatever. Shout out to any lesbians in the audience. I thought the comic was kind of cute. Let's wrap up tier 2. Cucumber Quest. So, this is a story by GGDG. Or Giggy DG, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. So, from the official site, here's a synopsis, quote, Cucumber Quest is a comic about bunny kids going on adventures and having fun. Alright, sounds like another wholesome slice of life. Now with furries. Okay, so this is a cute coming-of-age story about these anthropomorphic food people, not furries. It stars the titular character, Cucumber, who's tasked with the... Titular. It stars the titular character, Cucumber, who's tasked with saving the world from the ancient returning evil. Seems a little by the numbers for a fantasy story, but the art style has a unique children's book kind of feel to it, and the humor is light and fun. You know, I kind of like this one. It's got a lot of cuteness and charm to it. I'm looking forward to reading the rest, but let's take a look at the reviews. Top positive review. Jenna says, 7/20/20. Read it for book talk. Fantasy tropes, gender norms, little sisters aren't heroes, humor family expectations. 8/20/17. So apparently I just binged on 852 pages of this webcomic and was puzzled by a new page that didn't pop up. No. Adorable drawn style. Slow but steady character development, especially with the main siblings, and an adorable romance brewing. Was still at the teasing, flirting stage, and it flips typical fantasy tropes upside down, and then sometimes throws them completely out the window. I think Jenna may have gotten a bit woke between 2017 and 2020. Like, come on. Some people are totally fine with conforming to their own gender norms. Breaking out of them is totally fine too. Like, just let people be normal. Like, I'm so tired of people saying it has to be one way or the other. Leave people alone, goddammit. Alright? Everybody's their own unique individual. They don't have to fucking subscribe to any single ideology or perspective on gender norms. Or any of this shit. Sorry. I'm sick of all this slop content on YouTube. This woke and anti-woke shit. It's fucking everywhere. And now the AI's even making it. Alright, going off on a tangent there. Let's get back to business. Top negative review. Elijah says, the illustration style is fantastic, and I love this color scheme, but the story fell flat. I may continue on with the rest of the volumes at a later date, but at the moment I'm not interested enough. Fucking Australia, mate. Kangaroo. Fucking cunt. You guys like my Australian accent? I apologize, Australia. You guys are cool. And I liked it. I think I'll revisit it when I'm looking for something a bit cuter and lighter. Alright, and that's a wrap on Tier 2 Part 2. I'll see you next time when we look at Tier 3. But there will be some videos in between I'm sure you'll like, so make sure you hit the damn subscribe button. Do it. Do it now. Anyway, if there were any mistakes made, like I'm sure there were, like there always are, please correct me in the comments. Until next time, thank you for watching this video.